Hello, we are going to talk about nervous system dysregulation in this video. Symptoms, causes, how to heal from it. Timestamps are down below in the description box. If you're not sure what nervous system dysregulation is, we are going to touch really lightly on the definition and polyvagal theory. It all ties in together. You're welcome to skip to the rest. This is a follow-up video to the video I did a year ago. I can't believe it's been a year and I'm still not fully healed, but a year ago where I really wasn't functional, but this is kind of a follow-up to that. And based on the Googles, what is nervous system dysregulation? It's an imbalance within the body's nervous system. Fight or flight, which is the sympathetic nervous system, and rest and digest, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. They're not working in harmony. And as I was doing this research, what comes up, wrong way, is polyvagal theory. We're going to touch really quick on what polyvagal theory is. I took some notes, so I'm reading off of those notes. Polyvagal theory is the vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve. Additional information I got about the vagus nerve. It's also known as the vagus nerve is also known as the vagal nerves, what are the main nerves of your parasympathetic nervous system. This system controls specific body functions such as digestion, heart rate, and immune system. These functions are involuntary, meaning you can't consciously control them. And with the polyvagal theory is just something that I've kind of I went down this rabbit hole when I was trying to determine what was wrong with me. And it indicates that it begins at the medulla oblongata, a part of the brain, a lower part of the brain. It's been a while since I've taken anatomy and physiology. And there are two sides that run down throughout our body. There is a dorsal side and there is a ventral side. There's also a process called neuroreception. It's our neural circuits read cues of danger. We involuntarily scan situations, people, to determine if they are safe or dangerous. I take that more as our intuition, or if we had something bad that happened, past trauma, and we're reliving that event, our body senses that we're in danger is the best way that I can describe that and put that into layman's terms for myself. In the process of neuroreception, the vagus nerve can be stimulated. The ventral and dorsal side respond in distinct ways. The ventral side is more safety, and I would associate that with, not feeling anxious. You're just in a normal, healthy state mentally. And the dorsal, it's danger, cat, danger, and maybe even shut down, which is pretty much of what I've been experiencing the last year. It's been a year that I've been in the dorsal state. Pretty much, literally, you can't get out of bed. You are trying to do things and you can't focus, but let me not go on a tangent. Let's stay on topic. And there is also a hierarchy, I can't talk, of responses built into our autonomic nervous system. And it is 3 of them. There is oh my goodness, can you tell I don't really talk that much? I can't pronounce my words. Immobilization, which is dorsal, shutdown, freeze. The parasympathetic system is in overdrive, and I feel that when we are in this state, it can also be interpreted as depression. And it may be depression, it may be both things, but I would say, someone that is going through extreme burnout and they've gotten to the point where they literally can't function, they can't do much, and they're just in bed, and I can see how that can be confused as depression. I was experiencing both. The second one is mobilization, sympathetic. This helps us mobilize, and I feel that all of these have their time and place. They can benefit us. For example, the nervous system, sympathetic state. I was in that state for a while when I had quit a job, and I was working 2 jobs trying to figure things out, and I was definitely in a fight or flight state, and that helped me just keep pushing and work 70, 80 hours a week, just because I was like, I need to survive. So I didn't really think about it. I just made it work, made it happen. But in that time, it helped me. And now we go into the ventral, which is social engagement, safety, and calm. Polyvagal theory suggests this space is fluid and we can go from one to another easily. What that means is we can shift throughout the day. So during the day, I may be in a state of the mobilization, sympathetic, like I'm on edge, I'm working, whatever it may be. And at the end of the day comes around, I go work out, I play with the cats, and I'm feeling safe, right? So it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you or that you're bipolar or something if you're going through the different phases. And look, I'm just a girl on the internet. I've done this research, but I'm not here to diagnose, treat, or any of those things. I'm just sharing my experience, and it's been a year that this has happened, and maybe it'll give someone hope that you can start to heal if you're watching this video. So that is just a quick overview of what nervous system dysregulation is. Polyvagal theory, I feel like they kind of coincide. I could be wrong, but it's just based on the research that I've been doing. Let's talk about the symptoms. I've experienced every single one of these. And like I said, there can also be some comorbidities there where maybe there's already pre-existing anxiety, pre-existing depression, and then you also have these symptoms tied together with them, which is something I experienced. So let's talk about the symptoms. Again, I'm not diagnosing, I'm just sharing this information. Maybe someone will find it valuable. Chronic pain, muscle tension. I had muscle tension so bad that I actually strained just by turning left. My muscles were so sensitive. I was told by a doctor. The doctor told me this. I had to go to the doctor and for all these other things, and I looked to the left, and I just, when you sleep wrong and you have that pain, I was like, whoa, what's going on? And then the next day I turned right and the same thing happened, and I was prescribed muscle relaxers and Xanax, and told that I was in really high stress and that essentially my body was so stressed out, was really sensitive and could get injured easily. So muscle tension is a big one, still is for me. Chronic pain, headaches, vertigo. I had vertigo for over 6 months, I kid you not, and it just became something where I kind of just said, I guess this is just the way I'm going to live for a while. The vertigo was from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed. And the best way I can describe it was, I don't drink anymore, but if you ever had a heavy night of drinking and you lay down the next day and you look up and the room is spinning, that's kind of how I felt, but all the time. It just became a normal thing where I just told myself, right, I guess this is just how I'm going to feel for a while. I don't know when it'll go away, but okay. And when I had quit my job, I was working from home at a desk, and I literally couldn't move because I would get so disoriented, and that led to fatigue, which is another symptom. Of course, digestive issues, all these things are connected, right? They talk about the vagus nerve and how it innervates and goes to a different part of our bodies, and it would make sense why digestion, bloating, constipation, all these things can happen. Extreme fatigue, irregular sleep, being exhausted but still not being able to rest, just being on edge throughout the night. This one's really interesting because I still experience it to this day, but increased sensitivity to stimuli, easily startled. This still happens to me till this day. I don't know if it's a combination of dysregulated nervous system, and then also a combination that I work from home and I'm used to silence all the time, so I'm easily stimulated if I go out, and everything is just a lot to process. I feel like it's both of those things, but for a while, that literally I've had all these symptoms. Lack of focus, disorientation. A big one for me was the freeze, where I can't focus. I try to do something and my mind just shuts off completely. That's why last year had 5 jobs. Literally, I had 5 jobs last year. 5. I'd start a job and I would go on the computer and read the emails, and I would just go blank, and I'd be clicking back and forth and getting nothing done. And of course, I couldn't keep jobs, and I went through 5 jobs last year, which is kind of crazy looking back. Irritability, aggression, that's a huge one. I'm a very calm person. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, but I'm not a very loud person. Even if I'm excited about something, I won't show excitement. I have more of a monotone voice. I'll just say, oh, I feel really excited right now, even though I could be really, really excited. I just don't, the tone stays the same. And I don't consider myself an aggressive person, but I did experience irritability. I can't talk. Oh my goodness, this is what happens when you work from home and don't socialize. You literally lose that skill. Irritability and aggression, and even till this day, things that I normally would get upset about or frustrated or lose patience with, I do. Weight gain. Hello, I've gained 30 pounds, and I have videos coming up about that. High cortisol, stress literally can make us sick, and there is good stress. There's stress that helps us, complete tasks and get things done. But when it's prolonged and just chronic for an extended amount of time, that's when I see it start to cause disease in the body, and that's what had happened to me. And definitely I had a 30-pound weight gain. I went from the best shape that I've ever been in my life for myself, right, at 32, 33 years old, to the heaviest I've ever been in my 33 years of being alive. But that's more for another video. And like I said, unfortunately, we can have pre-existing symptoms such as already being depressed or already being anxious, and I feel like they can get confused. That's what happened to me. I wasn't depressed. I was just very, very, very burned out, and I had quit my job, and I kid you not, I was sleeping 12, 13 hours a day straight, and I did that for 2 weeks. I started just eating whole foods, eating healthy again, and sure enough, 2 weeks of sleep. But that can be seen as depression. But when you've been getting 4 hours of sleep for over a year and you're overstimulated, right, on a lot of caffeine, drugs, just not setting boundaries and pulling yourself in so many directions, it wears down on your body. And that's a good example where it can say it can be confused with depression, but really I was just super burned out. What causes this? I looked into it, and what I found was trauma, physical or emotional. And look, when it comes to trauma, we have to understand that I'm not saying, oh, my situation's worse, your situation. We're not comparing. It's whatever is the worst for you, for your body, for your mind. That's what your body interprets as trauma. It can come in different ways, right? For me, it was like work related. So instantly when I would hear the Teams or the Outlook, I would just get like anxiety and panic. And that happened. And that's why I went through 5 jobs, but now I'm doing a lot better. It could also be due to chronic stress, which was for myself. Medical substances, I can totally see, I didn't mean to spit, I can totally see how medication and substances comes into play. For example, around the time that my nervous system was dysregulated, I was on a lot of stimulants. I was taking Adderall, I was drinking a lot of coffee, a lot of caffeine. My day looked like, I was just on edge. That became my default. And I would drink a coffee, take half an Adderall, take another coffee, take another Adderall, drink a Monster to change up the flavor from coffee to like a Monster, and then pre-workout at night to work out. And then, it's 5, 6 p.m. and I'm taking pre-workout. That was, what does that do to your body? And then on top of that, you throw in not a lot of sleep, a lot of stress throughout the day, all these things, right? So it all kind of just started to, what's the word? Build up on each other. So I can see how the medical medications or substances can play a role. I didn't take Adderall for a long time, but I took it long enough to where when I stopped, I had what you call the Adderall come down, and it's horrific. I'm trying not to go in too many directions here and just keep this concise, but with the Adderall, I didn't know. And sometimes we get prescribed these medications and we don't think to ask more questions. I just thought, okay, well, the doctor said this is going to help me, so I'm going to take it. I didn't know that when you don't take it, you feel like you're glued to the bed and you just have no energy to do anything. So keep looking up here because this battery dies out so fast and it looks like it's about to die soon. How long does it take to heal? Based on the interwebs, it said a month to 2 months, and I was just thinking, in a perfect world, but it varies, obviously. What varies? Are we making any positive changes in our life, or are we still living the same life that caused us to get there in the first place, right? So the healing process, for me, it's been over a year. I'm just now, a year later, starting to get to the point where I'm functional again, where I'm eating, I'm working out, I'm starting to get desire. And of course, this was coupled with depression for myself, really the worst depression I've had in a long time, and anxiety, panic, all those things. 1 to 2 months, that's very generous. I think in the perfect scenario, if you don't have to work, or you have a spouse, or if you have some sort of support, you have social connection, you have checking all the boxes, then yes, I can see how 1 or 2 months. But real world, right? Still working a stressful job, not having a lot of social connection, not getting sunlight, not eating well, not exercising, those basic things. Obviously, it's going to take longer to heal. So I would say the healing process has been up and down, where sometimes I feel like I'm doing better and then I'm not. So for context, it can vary. It's been a year for me, and I'm just now starting to somewhat get better and get back into making videos and getting creative. I don't know if hair loss is one of them, but for me, I've lost like half my hair, and these pieces right here, this is stress related. Obviously, it's stress induced hair loss. These pieces were all the way down here, so it's just hair that has continued to break off. But hey, maybe I'll look good in a wig. How to heal. How to heal. How to heal. I'm going to tell you, having gone through all this, how I have healed. If I could say one thing out of the 10, 12, 15 things, one thing that has helped me heal is food. Food. Nutrition. And I know that's easier said than done. When you've been in bed for 3-4 days, I've experienced that, not even taking a shower, you are just glued to the bed. The last thing you think about is preparing your food, and that's why I say it takes just small steps. I'm not going to go from tracking every single meal and eating 5 times a day, 4 times a day, whatever, 3 times. It's just making it a bit more simple. Like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I have breakfast every day. I'm gonna make sure I have breakfast and lunch every day. I'm gonna have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and just start to make those small changes that add up and gain some momentum. And I can tell you that the number one thing that has helped me heal is food. eating whole foods, and at this point, I would say it can be bland. I'm okay with eating simple food. I've been doing it for so long. But what they tell you to consume, right? Your lean protein, veggies, fruits, fiber, minimally processed foods. That's essentially how I've been eating, and I've noticed a huge improvement in my energy levels. My focus is better. My desire to do things is better. My desire to even go out and get some sunlight, go for a walk, play with the cats. Small things that used to be overwhelming are not so overwhelming. So I would say nutrition. I don't eat processed foods as much. Like, I won't go out to eat. I just cook, and it's kind of been a therapeutic thing within itself, just being more mindful, which I'm going more into that. Top thing I would say is food. Top 2 is sleep. Make sure you are sleeping, your body is recovering, and I know not everyone has that privilege. I see that as a privilege. I am just by myself with 2 cats, and not everyone has that privilege to say, oh, I want to be in bed by this time and wake up at this time. I understand some people have kids and busier lives. I can't help there. I know that may not be of value for me to try and help you in that area, because I can't relate. I don't have kids. I don't have this chaotic life. The only chaos I create is the chaos in my own mind with overthinking and thinking too much and getting overwhelmed by life. Where am I going? All this drama I create in my head. So I know it's a privilege to be able to sleep, and I'll go more into the other things that have helped me heal. I'm checking my battery, 2%. Wow, we started at 50%. If you buy a Sony camera, the battery dies out so fast. Okay. Nutrition, sleep, be in the moment. Can you just stop? Can you stop? Can you just stop? Literally, just stop and be in the moment. This became a foreign emotion. I remember drawing, and drawing is such a mindful activity. It's such a good thing to do. I just remember drawing, and that feeling of being in that moment was so foreign. And we're overstimulated as a society. If we go to the grocery store, we're waiting in line, we're consuming. We're cooking, we're watching something, listening to something. We're going for a walk, we're listening to something. We're exercising, we're listening to something. At what point do we just stop and do that one thing that we are doing? If I'm cooking, I'm focusing on the cooking. I'm focusing on just cutting the potatoes, whatever it is that I'm doing, seasoning the chicken, versus just paying attention to this over here and multitasking. Just stop and be in the moment. If you go for a walk, try going for a walk and pay attention to your body in space, right? Pay attention to do a body scan, feel your feet, I don't know, touching the floor. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to how the sun feels on your skin, the wind blowing in the air, listening to the birds, just in that moment, right? And that is a big one. We definitely are overstimulated as a society, and I feel like hustle culture is something that is seen as, oh, look at me, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and that's great, but it gets to a point where doing too much for too long, it can lead to burnout like it did for myself. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to hustle it out maybe for a little bit, but it's not sustainable long term. Having more things to heal. Walking in nature without music. Like I said, pay attention to your body in space. Even laying down and just looking at the sky. Don't look at the sun. Okay? I don't need anyone going blind saying, Christina told me to look at the sky and I looked at the sun and now no. Just being in that moment. Deep breathing. Deep breathing, I'm sure some of you have heard, breathe in, and then when you breathe out, you want that to be longer than the inhale. Shorter inhale, longer exhale. Deep breathing, oh my goodness, this is a big one. We're at 1% on the battery. 24 minutes? This video is so long. Yoga. The first couple times I did yoga, I literally stopped having pain. Because, as we mentioned earlier, one of the symptoms is chronic pain. If I laid my head on the pillow, my ear touching the pillow hurt. If I lay on my side, my hip touching the mattress hurt. The body is just so sensitive, everything would hurt. Barely tap something, bump into something, oh my goodness, the pain, right? Yoga, when I did yoga, I would say it's because of the breathing and the mindfulness, which became so foreign to me. I didn't feel pain for the first time in a long time, and that's why I love doing yoga. Art, again, in the moment. And I'm not saying, oh, don't listen to music when you're walking. It just, once in a while, it's good to practice that feeling of just being in that moment. Somatic therapy, which is something I've been doing recently, singing, humming, cognitive behavioral therapy, less screen time, especially before bed. And again, that goes to just being overstimulated and sleeping. Cutting out caffeine is a huge one. I cut out caffeine just cold turkey. I was just on so many stimulants, it was Adderall, coffee, pre-workout, just overkill. And I just wanted to function as a human being. If I'm going to be here, I don't know what my reason is to be here on earth. I struggle with purpose fulfillment a lot. But if I am here, it's for a reason. And let me just at least feel the best that I can feel if I'm on this earth. And caffeine, I cut it out. And that, I would say, has helped. Now I'm slowly introducing it back in. I had a cup of coffee the other day, and it made me really anxious. So just once in a while, I would say like once a week, I will have some caffeine once, or just kind of testing it out. But I did cut it out for almost a year. Set boundaries. Where in your life are you maybe showing up for other people where you can be showing up for yourself, right? I did that a lot, and I feel like I just stopped showing up for myself, and I started showing up for other people, and that added to the burnout. So where can you set boundaries for yourself? Are you people pleasing? Are you saying yes too much and you're exhausting yourself? Exercise, but with exercise, stay away from high intensity interval training, especially if your body is in that sensitive state. Exercise does put stress on the body, but when we recover correctly, like eating enough food and getting enough rest, our body is good. But when your body is in the sensitive, already overstimulated state, and then you're adding high intensity interval training, you're stressing out your body even more. So I would limit the high intensity interval training. Instead, I would do like a long walk or incline on the treadmill or something like that. Journaling really helps. Pets. My battery is about to die. Exercising. Be careful with the high intensity interval training, journaling, pets. So if I'm playing with the cats, I'm just focusing on playing with the cats and just, I want them to have a happy life. I don't want my cats to be bored. Hydrating. Massages are incredible. I love massages so much. There's one thing in this world that I just could have forever. It's massages. I love massages. Something I'm lacking, but it helps, is a lot of friends, positive social connection. I have friends, but people are busy. People have lives. And if you don't have friends, it's okay. It's okay. Focus on these other things, and maybe it gives you some mental space, you get to explore, discover a hobby, and then find people with shared interest, like similar interest. Definitely the top one for me has been nutrition, sleep, cutting out caffeine. All these things are super helpful, and obviously they're probably things you have heard, but I am a testament that it works. Still not perfect. I still experience some sort of anxiety, but nothing compared to the months before where I wasn't sleeping, or I was oversleeping, sleeping 12, 14 hours a day. Now my body is starting to regulate again, which is just so incredible, and I don't think I realize it because I don't talk about it. But even for what is it, 6 weeks ago? 6 weeks ago, even a little longer than that, I was waking up at 11 a.m., sometimes even later. And that's with me going to bed at 10, sometimes later. But I was sleeping so much, and that's where it can be seen like as depression, and I probably was depressed, still go through that. I wouldn't say now that I'm depressed. For sure, I have experienced it very heavy the last year and a half, but right now I'm just experiencing a lot of discontent in my life, like a void, a huge void. But that's something that can be resolved, and if that's the worst of my problems, that's not too bad, because I just need to find things to do. But I hope this was helpful. This is actually a book that has helped me. There's been 2 or 3 books that have helped me with this, and this is the most recent one I've been reading. Here we go. It's called The Vagus Nerve Reset by Anna Ferguson. Train Your Body to Heal Stress, Trauma, and Anxiety. This is a good read. And if you don't want to read this, I have another book that was more of a short read. But I hope this helps. The symptoms, I'm still experiencing the chronic pain, but that's just from stress. And hopefully this helps. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the neuroreception. Did I mistype that? I don't know. As far as the dorsal, sympathetic, and ventral, sympathetic, I was in that state for so long, in that kind of on edge, you know, fight or flight. I was on that for so long, and that's where I talk about the drugs, the medication. It can all come into play. And I did that for so long that my body just kind of shut down on me. And I went from being this super productive, pulling myself in so many directions, getting so much done, where I almost placed my self-worth on that, of how much more I could produce and how much more I can do and all of this, that I went from that to the complete opposite, where, oh my goodness, I've been in bed for 3 days, why can't I get out? Why don't I want to eat? I don't want to work out. Literally, and now I went from the best shape to gaining 30 pounds. That person that was waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning, done with the gym by 6, 7, whatever, and going from that to waking up at noon. The latest I was waking up was almost 1 o'clock some days. When I was working another job where I was going into work later, I'd wake up at 1. And just to see, I don't even realize that until I'm talking about it right now, going from that to, oh my goodness, this is the first time in a long time that I woke up at 9 a.m. Now it's kind of like my body's starting to regulate again on its own, which is actually really amazing now that I get to verbalize and share it, going from waking up at 9:30 to 9 to 8 to 8:30, and then waking up at almost 7 this morning. That is progress within itself, and I would say compassion is a huge one, especially if you are an overachiever or pull yourself in a lot of different directions and kind of place your self-worth on that like I did. I would say have some compassion for yourself, and okay, I'm not waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning, but I was waking up at noon, 1, 11, all these late times, and now I'm starting to wake up at 7:30, 7. I was going to the gym 5, 6 days a week. Okay, I'm going to the gym 3 days, 4 days. I went on a walk. Those small progressions, and not compare. A lot of what I did was compare. Oh, I used to wake up at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and go to the gym. What's wrong with me? Why am I gaining weight? Why am I not weighing my food? Why am I not tracking my meals? Why am I... Listen, and it has taught me to let go a little bit, in the sense that right now I go to bed like around midnight. I go to the gym pretty late at night when the crowd dies out a little bit. And then by the time I have my supper, take a shower, I've been doing yoga in the evening, which I just love so much, even if it's 20 minutes of yoga, just yin yoga, and shower and do my whole routine, it's midnight, right? And I would be hard on myself. Why am I going to bed at midnight? I need to go to bed earlier so I can wake up earlier. Maybe in this season of my life right now where I'm still healing, that is just it. And as I said earlier, slowly my body's starting to regulate again, and I'm starting to wake up earlier naturally and not rely on caffeine or anything to function throughout the day, just rest and food. And I know that's a privilege to say that because not everyone has that lifestyle where they can just have a lot of peace in my life, right? There's no drama. Like I said, the only drama is in my own head. And have some compassion that there's no point in comparing. Even going back to the gym, there's no point in comparing. Oh my goodness, I was super fit and now I feel so uncomfortable. Whatever, I'm doing what it needs to be done and the results will come. There's no point in comparing to that past version. It's just about healing right now and letting go. And okay, maybe I'm going to bed at midnight, but I'm going on a tangent now. I hope this was helpful. This is a long video, very long, 30-something minutes. Let me know if you found it helpful. I'm going to be sharing more of what I've been eating that has been really helping me. The night routine that I have. My sleep is very deep. I used to not, even if I slept, I'd have nightmares. I would have anxiety throughout the night. And I'd just wake up, go back to sleep, wake up, feel exhausted. And now I wake up and I feel very well rested. And I would say it's probably also because of my sleep routine or the sleep hygiene that I have, which I'll share that more in future videos. But I am going to go for a walk and maybe see some sunlight. I can see how that affects people's mental health. It's like 5 and dark. We've been in a building all day and then it's 5 and it's just so dark. Go ahead and get some steps in. Thank you for watching.